fire. How bad is this new fire?
Yeah, well, thanks, Frank. Really, this new fire that broke out this afternoon was an example of kind of one of those fast-moving fires in what we call the wildland-urban interface. It was a fire that burned in Lake County Fire Protection District there, down in the lower lakes part of Lake County that is unfortunately very familiar with fire. The concern we have right now is just making sure we keep all fires small. We have over 10,000 firefighters on the line across California, and there's hundreds of miles of open fire line in the northern part of the state right now. So we're throwing a lot of resources at these small fires very early on to really try to prevent them from becoming major incidents.
Yeah, and Jonathan, we saw that. I mean, our Deb Villalone is there in Lake County now, and you could see the air attack continuing. Obviously, there were concerns that the smoke might hinder those efforts, but it appears as though the smoke is not an issue, at least right now.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the air attack is always at the mercy of weather. If it's too windy or too smoky, or the smoke plume is pushing down over the fire, the head of the fire, then they can't make their attack. Luckily, we were able to divert some air tankers from other areas to the cache fire, but you know, air tankers and helicopters are a finite resource right now across the state.
How worried should people in Clear Lake and Lower Lake be, which are both threatened by the fire? The Lake County Sheriff said today, quote, "If you're hanging around trying to watch what's going on, we kindly ask you to leave the area. That's causing a lot of problems for our responders. This is a very, very serious situation."
Yeah, so the message statewide really when it comes to evacuations is if there's an evacuation order, there is no time, it's time to get out. If there's a warning, that's when you need to start preparing. You know, our perspective on that is very clear. Evacuation orders, it's time to go. Just remember, firefighters, we want to put the fire out, and we want to be able to get there and put the fire out. If we can't get in to do that, or we have to commit resources to rescuing people who didn't leave, it just hinders our ability to be successful.
So, Jonathan, what can you tell us about the status of the fire right now? We understand that forward progress has been stopped, which obviously is a really good development, but the sheriff also saying we still have a lot more work to be done. So we are not out of the woods just yet here.
Yeah, so as you know, these fires across the state, although the forward progress may be stopped, we don't actually talk about containment until there's a physical barrier between the edge of the fire and the unburned fuel. So that takes bulldozers and hand crews and hose lines, and as time goes on, you'll see that number go up. But obviously a good sign that the crews up there were able to stop the forward progress of it.
Jonathan Cox, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We'll talk to you again during our 6 o'clock newscast. It just feels at some times like the entire area of Northern California is on fire. We appreciate, again, you taking the time to talk with us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Alrighty, we're back up on Skyfox just because this cache fire, you know, it erupted so quickly and it was big real quick. And as they said, as the gentleman there just mentioned, this was a really hot and fast fire. And it appears they've got a pretty good handle on it just visually, right? I mean, the thing I think about when I look at all these trailers and all these mobile homes and all that residential debris is that smoke coming off this fire, not unlike the Paradise fire, was probably pretty toxic stuff. You see the trailer units, you can see where they're laid out, right? You see them just like rows of these things, and so they really get hit hard in fires. Again, when I was up in Paradise, I was just up there the other day looking at it again, and there's a lot of trailer courts up there, and the way those things burn is very different than typical out structures and buildings in the open space. So just so you know, when you look at that, you're looking at probably individual trailers, right? You can see the stripped out and the driveways in between. We do have a red flag warning in this zone for tonight. It's not as big deal. I wouldn't say it's a code red. You know, these red flag warnings, they go from a scale of 1 to 10 in my mind. Last night's really was probably about a 6, right? A 10 is kind of Oakland Hills or Coffee Park, right? Or Paradise. So tonight we'll have a much lower grade red flag warning. The rest of the Bay Area is left out of it, but you can see, and you know, you got to feel for these people because at 9 o'clock this morning, they're eating their breakfast, and now look what their homes have become, and that's kind of what's happened in California in the last few years. This is the landscape that we live in. So it does encourage you guys to, you know, clear space around.